Carl, thank you for coming in. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate it for the invite.
That's awesome. So your first podcast, huh?
Yeah, this is my first podcast.
Okay, there you go. Look out. Here we go. So, where'd you grow up? Start easy with you. Easy questions.
Grew up in Taiwan. I was born and raised in Taiwan.
Okay.
Immigrated to the U.S. when I was in first grade, six years old, in '83.
Okay.
In 1983. Immigrated here. First place that my parents took me when I was 6 was Woodside, Queens.
Okay.
So that was how I got to understand New York culture.
That must have been a shock, right? Woodside.
Oh, yes, it was.
Why did they go there? Woodside, because that's
that's a great question. I believe that was where my aunt lived.
Okay.
So when my parents came, that was the only other relatives that they know that were in close proximity, and so they also lived in Woodside at that time.
That was like predominantly Irish back then, right? Especially in the 80s.
Yeah, we lived on Woodside Avenue and 60th something Street, very close to the Elmhurst Hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I played roller hockey and softball in Skillman Park, which was right on. I think that was on Skillman. Was that Skillman Avenue? When I think it was.
I'm not familiar.
40s, maybe.
Okay. Yeah.
What school did you go to? Elmhurst.
Elmhurst. PS. What I'd like to say was PS 20. Maybe that was a school. PS 20, in Woodside.
Okay.
Oh, I hope I got that one right.
It's all right. No one's gonna challenge it.
I was like, what,
and then
40
something years ago.
43, 40, 44 years ago. I think it's PS 20.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I went to St. Rita's. It's an easy one to figure out. And then where'd you go to college?
Went to Queens College, but I didn't graduate.
Okay.
I dropped out.
Same as me.
I dropped out.
Good class. Yeah.
Well, when I went and it was tough. My head, I just, it wasn't there. I was constantly in this hustling mindset, working, and so dropped out, didn't make it.
So what year did you leave school? 2004, 2005, or earlier?
I don't know what year that was. I was 19.
Okay.
So whatever that year was, I was sophomore.
Okay.
I was there for freshman and then dropped out after sophomore.
And then what'd you do when you finished school?
Real estate.
Oh, you got into real estate?
It was because of real estate that got me to drop out.
Okay. Oh, there you go.
I was a real estate agent, and so
Who'd you work with?
I was with, in the beginning, there was 2 brokers. One is Cause Realty, KAHLS or something.
Okay.
It was my aunt brokerage company, and then I went into Chow's Realty.
I remember Chow's.
David Chow.
Yeah, I remember that.
So
So I worked with America's Bravest probably when you were there.
yeah,
In Whitestone.
so that was where I was at, and I was in real estate.
What year did you get licensed?
I was 18.
So it was like 2003?
I don't know what year that was.
Somewhere
it
around
was in the 90s.
Oh,
I think
90s.
That was in the 90s.
Oh, so you got licensed before me.
Yeah,
Wow.
That was in the 90s.
Okay, and then
So whatever the calculation is of 18, I was born in 1976.
Okay.
So I don't know.
I'm not going to do the
math.
math.
I don't know what the math is.
We'll say 94.
76 plus 18, that's the year I
There
got my
you go.
license.
We'll say 96. There you go. So, go to Chow's. You stay there for a couple of years, and then you decide to go into title, right?
Yes. That was the path that inspired me to do it. Because as a real estate agent, I would go to closings, and I know the players that will be sitting at the closing table, but there'll be this one mysterious individual with a notary stamp.
That's right.
And that's busy stamping away. And I was like, who is this individual that doesn't talk much, but yet back in the 90s,
Most important
this
person in the room.
person was very important.
Yep.
Because what this person says dictates the temperature of the room. If the person says something and refuses to do something, the whole thing just collapses.
Right.
And so I was very baffled by this individual and what role they play. Because in the real estate school, they don't talk about this role. And he was a title closer. I didn't know what that person was. And I went back and I spoke with my broker and I said, you know, the broker kind of explained to me a little bit more about what the role is. And then it poked interest. And that's when I decided to look more into it.
Did you jump right into it, or did you take time? And
there was a moment where I took time where I was trying to find who I am.
Okay.
I was very lost. I was very lost in terms of my identity of my career, how I'm going to hustle. I was constantly hustling my whole life. It was just a one big hustle. Coming into the U.S. in a very typical immigrant family where you got the mother and father, they're both blue collar. My father was a blue collar truck driver. My mother was a blue collar, she worked at a sweatshop company.
Like a seamstress?
Yeah, seamstress. She was a babysitter. She was working in a dry cleaning. So she had 3 jobs hustling all at the same time. And so growing up watching that, it brought a importance of money. Without money, you can't survive in New York. Without money, it doesn't bring happiness. Without money, marriage could collapse. Without money, children, well, like me, I will always stay uncool in school. So money was
important.
But somehow it was ingrained into my head that no matter what, it wasn't education, but it was money, the pursuit of money. So that was the heartbeat of my entire life. So leading up to college, I was given an option of, do I want to go to school? And if so, how do I pay for it? So Queens College, I think at that time, the semester was, I think $8,000 or something, and I didn't have my parents didn't have $8,000 to give me, and I wasn't smart enough to get a scholarship. So my aunt approached me with an option. You can either work part-time hustling at random retail store, or you could try to get a license
and make some real money in the real estate
and
business.
see if chance happens and you could strike lucky and have one commission that could possibly pay for your entire semester. So 17 going on to 18, when I was 18, I took the license. And lo and behold, got it. I was baffled. When I got it, I also remembered I was the youngest agent in the brokerage company, and all my colleagues. What was funny was they're all like uncles and aunts.
Yeah.
And when I tried to learn from them, hustle with them, they would all have vehicles, cars, but I just started. I don't even have money to buy a car, so I would take the bus, and I would pretend that I had a car just to fit in, and we would meet at certain locations, and when they say, oh, you know, Karl, you know, so then we'll meet you so and so, and we'll gather, we'll have lunch. I'll pretend that I will leave the brokerage company and pretend I'm going to my car, but I was actually going to a bus stop.
Wow.
Get on the bus, meet them there, and we will go on and just pretend that, you know, I was trying to fit in. And the same thing happened with my clients. First time, when I closed my first deal, it was on College Point Boulevard in Sanford. And how I got there, it was because, again, I had to leave my brokerage company, pretended that I was in a car. I was telling my client, I'll meet you there. Got there early because I didn't want them to see me get off a bus.
That's right.
And the same thing, I was just hustling. Okay,
God bless. It's
I
awesome.
just hustled. That was how I did it. And
What'd you learn from that? What did you learn from that? So that takes a special type of person to do something like that, right?
oh gosh, what did I learn from that? When you really truly want something, it brought me to a mindset where I always have to prepare.
Okay.
The mindset of prepare. You gotta prepare and plan ahead. And that was my entire life. I always had to prepare and plan ahead. I have to replay the scenarios over my head over and over again of the what if scenario. How can any given scenario, situations, how it could turn out. And I have to plan everything. What happened if the bus is late? When I show up, if they see through me, how would I continue to hustle? Down to my shirt, my tie.
So you were always thinking of,
I always have to think 5 steps, 10 steps ahead.
God, that has to be hard,
Just
especially at 18 years old.
well, you know, when I was young, I mean, my first job, I was 12. So my father said, you know, gotta help pay rent. So 12 years old,
At 12.
I left the house, and he said, go out and you gotta hustle and help pay rent, help the family pay rent. So my first job, it was at an ice cream store in front of the Flushing Library. It was called the Ice Cream Factory. I
Oh,
still
wow.
remember the name of the
remember that.
store. It was called the Ice Cream Factory. Strange name for an ice cream
Yeah.
store, and it was owned by a Asian organization in front of the Flushing Hospital underneath the co-op building.
I think I remember that place.
Yeah, and that's where I worked.
That's
I
wow.
was 12, and that was my first job, and I hustled since I was 12 and interact with customers, clients, I mean customers. So, you know, talking to people, it became natural. It became natural to just deal with the world, the reality, seeing it at that young.
So you've seen life at early ages and were able to just
Unfortunately,
adjust. Unfortunately, unfortunately,
yeah.
that is right. It's unfortunately.
I missed my childhood.
Yeah.
But then I was brought to the reality of the world of how money is what keeps everything going.
Huh.
Money is what keeps everything going. And I've learned at a very young age at junior high, because 12, I was entering junior high. I was 7th grade. And so just being out there knowing that I have to go to school, and then right after school, I got to jump into the part-time work from 3 till whatever closing time, and that was just how I hustled it.
Did that ever change for you? Like where money is it still money is what drives it, or did that ever change?
No, definitely not. So unfortunately, that pattern, or should I say now I've recognized that was a false pattern, where that life that I was doing, it put so much weight on me, and it messed me up.
This is what we were talking about at the holiday party when I first met you.
Yeah,
We was talking about this. This is,
it totally messed me up on my perception of the purpose in life. So growing up, watching all those gangster movies and mafioso movies, Scarface and Goodfellas, I worship that, and I want to become that. And in those movies, the way they did it was they were just constantly cutting corners, but I wanted to be recognized. I wanted to be respected,
sure.
but I couldn't get that from a academic perspective. It wasn't like I had a wonderful degree. I had like master's degree. I wasn't uh, academically smart. So how else can I get respected? My family aren't rich, so how can I get respected? Um, the cards doesn't play in my favor. in terms of landing a great career. So how am I going to get respected? So everything that I see in the movies, and also the gang life growing up in junior high and high school, that was captivating.
It's
That
attractive to
was a shortcut to get respected in the adult world. That was a shortcut that in order to get respected, you got to look a certain way, dress a certain way, and you got to have some sort of a cash.
Mm-hmm.
So going back to what I was saying about just money, that was the heartbeat. That was how I felt was a success in life.
Mm-hmm.
And so the moment that I was able to see how quick real estate could bring me, one closing at that time, it was 6%. Now you're not getting 6%.
Yeah, you're lucky if you get
right?
2% in some places.
So back in the 90s, closing was 6%, 3% broker, seller, and buyer, 3 and 3. So my first deal, when I closed it, 18-year-old kid, first check, 18 grand, $18,000.
Yeah.
That was the answer. Immediately from that first check, got my first car, paid for my car insurance, got a real legit suit. I upgraded my cheap. It was a Caldor. It was a briefcase from Caldor on Roosevelt in Flushing. It's not there anymore.
No, it's gone.
Right
Yeah.
next to Stern.
That's right. Stern, wow.
Right, and before Caldor, it was Woolworth.
Mm-hmm.
I now upgraded it. And there was money. And I was like, oh, wow. But then I also noticed how quick 18,000 you could get and you lose it. Because now you spend it all.
That's right. You have to do it all over again.
So then I got to do this whole entire cycle over again. And I just kept on pursuing, running after it. And it led a path where I was cold. I became a very cold individual. I saw people very differently. I see people as what they're worth as a dollar value,
Compared to
not relationship.
That's right.
I see you not in relationship. I view you as a dollar value. So I start putting, in a very sick and twisted way, I put a dollar sign on top of your head. So when I see and engage with you, I don't believe in true friendship. I see what you're
Just
worth.
money, yeah.
Oh, this guy is 50,000. This worth 50,000. Can I buy you? And so it wasn't healthy. And I also noticed I did that with my parents. When my parents contacted me, I looked at my dad, and I put a dollar value on top of his head and say, is this person worth me speaking to? And I also did that with my ex-wife. And that entire path of just running money and thinking I am like this mini god, it destroyed my first marriage. And then leading up to it, I put so much, so much heaviness on my back that building this company, endless sleep, outings with clients, trying to build up relationships. It took up so much of my sleep that one thing led to another. I wasn't feeling good. And this is...
what year is this?
This is 2018.
Okay.
Leading up to 2018. And so...
So right before COVID?
Yeah. COVID was 2020.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah.
COVID was 2020.
That's right, yeah.
So around 2017, 2018, that was when I had the first sign that there's something biologically that wasn't right about me. And so I started feeling extreme nauseous. There was a constant stuffiness that was in my nasal area, and I felt blurred in my eye, and I couldn't hear well, and I've been ignoring it, constantly hustling, built a company, staying late at night until 3 or 4 in the morning, wake up at 8, 2 large Starbucks Americano. That was what gets me through the entire day, and I did that day in, day out until my body gave out. And when I went to the doctor and then they gave me a CT scan, that's when they found out that I had a 4.5-inch cancer in my brain.
My God.
And when they gave me that diagnosis, was I surprised? I couldn't believe it, but I wasn't surprised because I knew my entire life leading up to it, I was abusing my body in terms of taking care of myself. The level of mental stress or wave of emotion of anger, bottling up anger, feeling pressure, the need to stay on top, the need to make sure that I can take care of the family, my parents, to help them to kind of pay back for my parents so that they can have a retirement life at an early age, to show gratitude to my mother and father. I just constantly carry all that burden, and I was alone. And another sad part is, once you get to that pinnacle of your life, you notice that there's not too many people that's around you at that young age. And now I'm in my 40s, right? I should say, yeah, around 30, mid 30s to early 40s. There's none. I am not even going to say there was few. I didn't meet anyone around that age that I could share
Stories.
my burden with my problem. I could share with my brother Lester once in a while, but other than that,
You didn't want to worry him or anything like that.
there wasn't really anyone that could help me. So all that thing piled up, and I got sick.
So you get diagnosed with brain cancer, I'm assuming, right? At an early age, obviously. Silly question. What goes through your mind at that point? Like, what are you thinking of all of that, what you did, and what are you thinking immediately?
When the doctor first gave me that diagnosis, he said, you have 4.5 inches cancer in your head. You cannot operate because it's inside your skull. So your chance of survival is not high. So then therefore, Mr. Lin, you had 3 months to live.
Oh my God.
So I was given 3 months to live, stage 4. And what went through my mind was, I hid it, because that's what I do best. Under pressure, you hide your emotions. If you're a leader, you don't reveal your emotions. Poker face. So it was me, my wife, and Lester in that room at Northwell Hospital. And when they said it, my wife broke down. Lester clenched his hand on my shoulder. I remember those moments. And I had to look at the doctor with a straight face and just kind of nod and go, okay, can't show it. That drive home, it was tough. It was tough. Driving home, my wife is crying, and I just kept quiet. That moment, I was lost. I was lost. Lost, so lost. And then later on, just the thought of what was all this about? All this that I built, what was that about? and I I got angry too. I got angry, and I remembered what was I thinking to go back to answer what was I thinking. Strangely, I noticed that there was one moment where Lester and I we went to go visit a trust attorney because now I gotta write my trust.
Yep.
And when I was done, I was at the lobby, and Lester said, um, you know, Lester is very aware of people's emotion and feelings, so he will always ask how you feeling, how you feeling. He doesn't give suggestions, and so that was one other thing that was unique about Lester. Like he won't put his suggestions, but he will try to dig things out of me, and that's what he's very good at. So his question that day in the lobby was, "How you feel? How you feeling?" And that question I remember until today because that was the first time I reflected how I felt. And I said, strangely sad and angry. And I don't know why I felt angry. And then when I was thinking about it, I was angry because I felt life wasn't fair. At the moment where I only have now months to live, what was the purpose of the trust? It was for me to take care of others.
Yeah.
That was what that whole thing was about. And I was pissed that even at my dying moment, I was still using my time
Take
to
care.
care for you. And then I was pissed because I said, so who's taking care of me? My whole life, I was constantly taking care. That was the drive. And now even when I got months to live, I'm still doing that. And so it was so conflicted at a young age, I couldn't grasp this is what the world is, this is what life is. And I couldn't find peace. I couldn't find peace. I was still doing things. I don't know how to explain it, but I just find it unfair. Just again, I should at that time be happy and learn and then try to seek happiness. But even that example,
Well, still not. Yeah.
I am still not.
So, thank God you're still here. Obviously, what happened in that 3 months? Like what changed it all?
Yeah. Well, this is the part where I was biased growing up, but it was religion. Growing up, I always see my parents. My parents, they're Christians, and I always see my mother. She was always praying, and my father, he is busy taking care of the family, so he's busy hustling, doing what he can. And my mother, there was one habit that she always does growing up. I always watch her pray when there is hardship. Praying when there is marriage issues, praying when there is financial issues, praying when she knows that Lester and I we were being faced with challenges in school that as
Okay.
immigrant parent they cannot help
Sure.
because of their ability to not to able to communicate in English with teachers. And going to church because of my lifestyle that I explained to you earlier, I just never really felt God was real. I didn't believe it. So I was a Sunday Christian. Sunday Christian, I go there just to network, meet girls. That's what I did. And I never really believed that there is a God that can heal, forgive, do miracles. And so in that 3 months, I was put in a position where I could try what science says, but it wasn't a great outcome. The outcome wasn't promising. And so I remembered my mother and my wife at that time. She was more of a believer than I was. So my wife introduced two pastors to me, and they're very good at first doing spiritual healing for me. And spiritual healing, I've learned later, it was emotional healing. There was so much emotion that I couldn't let go that I didn't know I needed that. And so when the pastors came, um, I was doubtful, but I said, you know what? Sure, pray. And strangely, things were going on at that session that I cried. I I forgave. I forgave how my father, um, what he did uh, with me, prepping me to become, prepping me for manhood. But there was a lot of physical abuse, a lot of mental abuse. I had to forgive why I was pushed out of the house at the age of 12, to hustle. I had to forgive uh, even with my previous marriage. I had to forgive my ex-wife because what was happening was I never realized that I bottled it up and I justify it, and that was one of the key things the pastor revealed to me. He said it was okay to address those feelings because you justified it. You thought that was okay. It was what I was feeling was it was okay, and I didn't even know that it was harming me. All this false perception of money can solve everything. It created this monster that was inside of me, and I couldn't find peace. And that was another word. The pastor was asking me, all this thing that you have, how come those happiness is so short-lived? And I said, you're right. Every watch that I buy, every car that I have, every house that I bought, every investment that I see, bank account that grows, it was the happiness was seconds or minutes, and that was it. Gone. It was gone. And so what was I living for? I couldn't answer it. And so the pastor was saying, do you feel at peace? And I said, no. There is no peace in my life. I don't know what peace means. I didn't know what that means. So I start seeking for spiritual healing. And lo and behold, this is the part where I couldn't explain on my own either. After I was seeking God day in, day out, it took me 3 weeks. 3 weeks, 8 hours a day. I sat in my room and I prayed. And I was like, Lord, you never speak to me, so I'm going to try. I got nothing else to lose. I'm going to pray. So I prayed 8 hours a day, 7 days a week for 3 weeks. Heard nothing. And then there was one afternoon, I heard something. It didn't come from my head. It wasn't a thought. It didn't come from my heart. It wasn't an emotion. There was something in my gut. So it was a voice that came from my belly. I started speaking. And without going into details, that voice that I heard is what led me to communicate with the medical oncologist and also with the radiologist on how to treat this cancer, that I got healed. The timeline that I was given was I should be taking chemo and radiation for 18 months and then see what happens. But instead, this voice that I was hearing, it was telling me which doctor to go to, where to go to, how many doses, when to stop. And that period was 5 weeks. And then the voice said, stop,
Wow.
stop everything.
That 5 weeks was
5
over.
weeks. So it was a month and 1 week. I started my treatment in April, ended in May of first week, and I stopped.
What kind of treatment was it?
It was a combination of chemo and radiation. They did it to my face. And they wanted to continue, and I said no.
Then you just get that gut feeling again.
The gut says stop. And when I told the doctor this, the doctor was, of course, science says I'm crazy. Science says that I bet on something wrong, and they're right. And
I'm sorry to cut you off, Carl. Were they measuring throughout? Were they constantly measuring the size of the tumor? Was it working?
They couldn't because when this is what I learned later why they couldn't scan anything. When a patient is hit with radiation and chemo, when you do a CAT scan or a MRI, it's not accurate because you're so inflamed, so they can't capture the image correctly.
Okay.
So the only way that they could capture the image to see if it's working or not is unless I stop. I had to stop and let your body detox.
Okay.
And this is all things that I've learned. So then they said, Mr. Lin, we can't tell if it's working or not because we can't scan you, but you're telling us to stop. And so right now you're telling us to stop based on a gut feeling, and we can't tell you if it's working or not because we can't scan you because you're inflamed. All right. So they said, if you're saying to stop in May, we'll stop. We'll wait 3 months, and then we will get another scan. We'll get a new MRI scan 3 months later, so it was August.
Did you, I'm sorry to interrupt you again, did you feel any different in the time? Like, were you still getting the blurred visions, the hearing, the sinuses? Did you feel any difference from when you started to that 5 weeks, or it was all the same? Besides your gut, you know what I mean? Did the symptoms calm down a little bit?
No.
No.
There was no progress in terms of physically, what the eye can see, no.
Okay.
My throat, my nose, it was very stuffy, inflamed. Everything was messed up because work was done. And the radiation burn, it was a huge radiation burn. I couldn't eat because it was like a huge blister inside my mouth, cold sore, whatever that you could think of the pain that could be happening. I was feeling it, and I couldn't digest anything solid because anything that was in my mouth, it just hurts. And so I was on a liquid milk diet in that entire month. But besides the physical pain, I was at peace. Strangely, I believed. Strangely, because I believe, I felt I was going to be all right.
Wow.
Strangely, because I believe I was all right, I feel I was communicating with God. There was a sense of security because for the first time, I was able to lean on something. You know, Going home, you could talk to your wife. I could talk to Lester. I could talk to the people that's around me in the company. But to have peace, it means I can lean on someone and I can rest assured that person could take the baton and take care of you. I felt it.
You felt that.
And I felt peace. Even though that I woke up, I looked myself in the mirror, I looked like crap. But I felt I'll be okay.
Wow.
That's how I felt.
And then, so 3 months hits, August now hits. Is there anything that we're leaving out, or August hits now?
No. So when I stopped in May, they said, then let's start counting down. Let's wait 3 months and let's see, Mr. Lin, if you're right.
And the initial diagnosis was 3 months, right?
Yeah. They'll say either you're right or we're right. They're betting on that
They're right.
they're right because cancer is still going to be there. And they're also saying that because I paused for 3 months, it's going to be worse. It's going to be harder for you to fight it. You do not pause.
So they're trying to
When
scare
you-
you into,
They were scaring me and saying that if you stop, no one stops in the middle of a fight. You go into a boxing ring, you take down Tyson. While Tyson is weak, you keep on hitting him. You do not stop and let Mike Tyson get up, take his breath, regain his consciousness, because now he's going to come at you hard.
more furious.
That was the analogy that they gave me. And I said, no. This gut voice has never been wrong. And I'm hearing things, seeing things I cannot explain. There is this peace that I'm feeling. I'm going to believe.
You're good either way at that point.
I was ready.
You were ready. Okay.
I was ready for the result. I have to own it. I gotta make my own bed.
So you're at peace. And a silly question, are you angry anymore? No, you're at peace, right? Are you afraid?
No,
Not afraid.
peaceful, not angry. I looked at life. I looked at what was going on around me. I see what Lester is, spiritual beacon. You know, Lester and my mother were the two, and my wife, the three spiritual beacon that I see, that they were very supportive in that spiritual aspect, that they were not shaken. They believed that I was going to be fine.
They're saying, don't do it. You go with your...
If you believe it,
Stay with it.
we'll stand by you. And we also believe, I mean, there were so many prayers. Oh my gosh. There were so many prayers that people were praying for me, especially Lester. I mean, I had no idea what this guy was doing, meaning he was in a Christian, he was very heavily networked in a Christian circle. And the moment that I heard that people around the world were praying for me, I mean, that was a strength.
That's awesome.
Everyone was advocating for me. And I think that is what probably led me to just feel at peace. And when it came to August, finally, went in to go get the MRI. It was an MRI scan. Was I nervous? Yeah, I was.
I'm sure you were.
But I also said to myself, this is what the enemy wants me to feel. This is how Satan wants me to whisper into my head that your God is wrong. I kept my faith, went in, took the scan, and the doctor called me, August 15th. August 15th.
What day did you take the scan? August 14th or the 15th?
August 15th, 2019.
Oh, you took it. You got the results that same day. It was...
Yeah.
immediate.
So I took the scan, and at August 15, 2019 was when they called me back in to go over the scan. And I walked in, and the doctor with a unhappy face.
Unhappy.
First when I saw the unhappy face, like he wasn't smiling. And I was thinking,
The worst.
oh no.
Didn't work. Yeah.
And when he showed it to me, he said, "This is what you were March of 2019. Here's a scan. Tumor. August 2019. Tumor free."
Holy shit. Excuse my language. I'm sorry. It went completely. That's freaking awesome.
He had
Praise
a
God,
dead
right?
face and he couldn't comprehend this. I looked at it, and as a born again Christian, I would say I was born again. I was
I'm
just
sorry to
giggling.
curse.
I was just giggling. I looked at that scan, and I wasn't looking at it at a scientific, miraculous way, as the doctor was trying to make reason or logic. I was just happy. I was crying. I was kneeling. I was crying, and I was like, "God, praise the Lord. You are real. You've kept me beneath your wings. You were shepherding me." And I kept that scan, that photo in my phone with me. Just sometimes I gotta look at how sometimes logic and reasoning, sometimes it doesn't turn out like that. Miracle does happen.
Wow.
Because that photo, if I were to show it to any doctor, you cannot make sense of that. And especially if I tell you, this is what it looked like before. It wasn't like it was half an inch, 1 centimeter. This is a 4.5-inch cancer. 1 month treatment, how did that thing disappear? Because the scan next to it, it says tumor free.
That's freaking unbelievable.
And so where did that thing go?
How many times did they test you after that?
So then to make sure that it was continued tumor free, the scan was going on, I think, once every 3 months. I was doing that for 5 years. They wanted to see that it doesn't come back. And so I've been tested every 3 months, getting a scan for 5 years straight until they said, you don't need to do it. We can just do a simple checkup and to continue. So until today, I'm still cancer free.
That's an awesome story, man. That's so fucking cool.
You know, so that changed everything on how I do business. How I do business since then, and I look back to what was going on leading up to it, all the all the mi- all the experiences, and I'm not saying those were bad. It was just it was a it was a path that God wanted me to prepare me and for me to see. And I was also praying to the Lord. I said, I don't want this to be a wasted miracle.
Right? Yeah.
Okay. There are many cases where people just like me, they got healed, but
Where'd it go?
it, stuff comes back.
Right.
It comes back. So I said, Lord, what was my problem? As an entrepreneur, we don't just accept blessings. We don't accept, our success without asking the question, what led to it? How can we improve, right? Entrepreneur business mindset, we don't just accept it. You gotta learn from it. So I ask. And when I pray for that, the voice that said to me was, you couldn't surrender.
Hmm.
And I ponder on that word. I said, oh, my problem all these years was I had the inability to surrender. I couldn't surrender and let something higher take over. So I start practicing that. Today, marriage, kids, business, bank account, investment, I learned to submit. I learned to let go. Because because those were things I could not do. I couldn't let go. I need to be in control because I trust no one. I didn't have peace. I didn't have anyone to lean my head on.
Hmm.
And so now I found God. I found peace. So I said to him, every day when I woke up, even today coming here, I'll do a very simple, quick prayer. I surrender everything to you, but guide me. Not irresponsibly surrender. I said, but the Holy Spirit guide me. Give me knowledge and wisdom, and let me discern different voices in my head. Let me discern. And so since 2020, luckily, unknowingly, I noticed that the people that were surrounding me in my office, all the executives that you see on the website, Jennifer, Maggie, Winnie, Lester, the Lord planted them in the company in 2008, started to plant these people in the company. And when I looked at it, I realized these 4 people that I just named, they're all from the church that
Wow.
I came out of, the same church that I didn't believe. And the Lord put those 4 people into this company to grow with me. And these 4 organically, they help shape where the company is today. That type of bond, um, that kind of fellowship, friendship, that which we had, the trust that I had with these executives, I let go. I let go. And it wasn't easy. It took years for me to practice this. I was a guy that gotta make sure 10 steps ahead. I gotta plan, prepare, all this stuff. For me to now let go, lay it all down, and allow them to grow.
Wow.
That took a lot of surrendering and submission. As a guy who thinks he knows it all, so I used to think I was mini God. I was like a mini God.
Hmm.
No one would know more than me, right? I was on my high horse. Now I gotta listen to them, and I gotta take in, and I gotta say to myself, this is what God was telling me. In order to attain peace, allow God to be God. God put people to elevate them too. God positioned them around me so then I could take a breather, allow them to rise. And the way that which we scaled our company is that now I got 4 brilliant minds collaborating, building a company, scaling it, that if I were to do this alone,
Never gonna happen. Yeah.
I think I would have collapsed again. I would have collapsed again. This is not, it's not healthy. It's just mentally not healthy.
Wow. Amazing. And God, that was hmm, it's
I praise the Lord each day that He surrounds me with godly people. And I pray for my executives because it's commanded that as a leader, you need to do that for the subordinates. You gotta pray that they will also be successful and they also will be guided. And I also know my brother, he's a very spiritual man too. He's doing this. And I'm learning it. So now I give part of my time pastoring churches. From that, My wife and I, we started home church, and I give sermons every Sunday.
Well,
I learned to walk into that role of taking all the hardships and all these experiences that a immigrant family would go through, the obstacles, the roadblocks, and things that I've learned, all the mistakes, and I take that and I would explain that to my kids, that what does the Bible, how can the Bible relate to these stories? How can you learn from it? And hopefully the outcome will be very different for those people that comes to the church, that hears me. Hopefully there'll be a different impact.
so unfortunately, our time's up. I could speak with you for hours. It was. I think that's the quietest I ever been in an episode. Right? That's an amazing story. Wow. What would you tell somebody coming up today? I like to ask this question out of everyone, and I want to hear your answer. Like somebody new, starting out just like you, what would you tell them? What's your advice?
I have people that came to me and asked me on that and said, Karl, how do I become a millionaire? I said, you got to do something that I did not do in the past. What I do now is, I said, if you're willing to be open to it, I said, pray with me. Pray to see that if this is what God has in plan for you, because it might not.
Might be
It
another
might
road.
not. Because the Lord has different plans for different people. If you ask for something that is not planned for you, it could become a curse. It could destroy you. But if it's blessed, and that is also what you hear, then the path will open. Nothing could stop you. So my advice to these people was, whether you're a believer or not, I cannot give you worldly advice. It's unfair to God.
Love it. Thank you so much. You're
welcome.
awesome. You really are. I love you, man. That was great.